Welcome back. We know where the days go. 2 Qs, the wait before credit review and the wait before risk sign-off. But knowing where is not knowing why, and this is the moment a project either gets wise or gets someone fired. Because there's an obvious villain. The delay clusters around credit risk, so the easy conclusion is credit risk is too slow. Lean on them. Today, we test that conclusion instead of acting on it. And the data is about to exonerate the very team everyone wanted to blame, which is exactly why you analyze before you improve. A frame for the whole phase. Measure told us the symptom, 18 days, concentrated in 2 waits. Analyze asks the harder question, what causes those waits? And the discipline here is to hold every theory, however obvious, as a suspect, not a verdict, until the evidence rules it in or out. There are 2 traps. 1. Confusing correlation with cause. The delay is near credit risk, therefore credit risk causes it. 2. Stopping at the first plausible answer instead of digging to the root. The tools today are built to defeat exactly those 2 traps. Nadia opens the Analyze tab and builds a fishbone, a cause and effect diagram that forces the team to consider every category before settling on one. The effect at the head of the fish. File waits before risk sign-off. Then the bones, the classic 6, people. Is anyone actually assigned to move it? Process, is there a queue with no priority rule? Equipment, do the systems even talk? And so on across materials, measurement, and environment. Watch what this does. It drags the quiet causes into the light next to the loud one, so blame credit risk has to compete with nobody owns the handoff. One tool on this diagram deserves its own moment, the 5 whys. It's almost embarrassingly simple. You ask why 5 times. And it's one of the most powerful things in the whole method. The file waits before risk sign-off. Why? It sits in a shared inbox. Why? No one is assigned to triage it. Why? Ownership was never defined for the handoff. Why? The process grew up around people, not roles. Why? Nobody ever mapped it, until now. 5 questions, and you've traveled from a symptom a manager would punish to a root cause a manager can actually fix. So right on the fishbone she just built, Nadia traces the 5 whys. The file waits before risk sign-off. Why? No one is assigned to triage the queue. Why? Ownership was never defined for the handoff. Why? It's a shared inbox with no priority rule. First in, first out by luck. And why does it run that way? Because the whole thing grew up around people, not roles, and until this project, nobody ever mapped it. 5 whys, and the chain lands somewhere no one expected. The delay isn't credit risk taking too long to think. It's a completed file sitting in an ownerless queue for days before anyone even opens it, and the platform lets her prove the gate has capacity to spare. She switches on staff utilization, feeding the shift's demand and available hours, and the tool computes each station's load. Risk sign-off isn't overloaded, it sits with slack. Then the Yamazumi chart makes it visual. Bar after bar falls well below the tact line, and the cycle is dominated not by work, but by the wait between stations. The gate isn't slow. The line to reach it is long. A root cause is still a hypothesis until the data agrees. So Nadia makes it a formal test. The time a file waits for risk sign-off versus the time credit risk actually spends reviewing it. The 2 columns side by side. She runs it, and it isn't close. The waiting dwarfs the working, statistically unmistakable, not a few odd files, but the rule across the whole population. The evidence just cleared credit risk by name and convicted the queue. One last check before measure closes. Can this process even hit 5 days as it stands? On the Capability tab, Nadia loads the facility lead times against the 5-day limit, and the platform computes it. A CPK far below 1, a sigma level on the floor. As designed, the process is simply not capable of the promise. The gap isn't noise, it's structural. That's the honest baseline. With the shadow, the data, the causes, and the capability all in, she marks the processes section complete. Measure is done on the record, and the project turns toward the fix. Step back and see what analysis just bought. The obvious answer, Credit risk is slow, is dead, killed by the bank's own numbers. The real root cause is a handoff with no owner, a queue where finished files wait for someone to notice them. That reframes everything about the fix. You do not need to hire risk analysts or pressure a team that was never the bottleneck or buy a faster system. You need to give a queue an owner and a priority rule. The most expensive mistake in improvement is solving the wrong problem fast. Analysis is how you refuse to. So the ghost has a name at last, and it isn't a person. It's a gap. Between finishing a file and picking it up, the work simply stops, because no one owns the moment in between. That is a genuinely good problem to have, because gaps are cheaper to fix than people are to add. The team walked in ready to blame credit risk and walked out with a root cause and the evidence to defend it. Next episode, the improve phase, where we design the fix, pilot it on real files, and put a number on what faster, without looser, is actually worth. See you there.